What's up guys, it's Davi, and I wanted to make this raw video, just me talking to you and show you guys charts, because every single day I get asked, how do you deal with emotions in trading? How you become more consistent in your trading and in your profits and your results? And I just have really simple answer. You have to make it a systematic process. And you make it a systematic process by asking yourself 3 questions. Why, where, and when. Look at my chart. Here are these 3 questions right here. Why, where, and when. And after you answer these questions, you will have no doubts in your trade and you will have no emotions, because this is a systematic approach, okay? First of all, what is why? Why is why you enter short or long position. And you answer this question by building a bias, okay? So you build a bias by looking at a higher time frame. So now if we're looking at a higher time frame, I always start with the weekly time frame. And as I'm looking at the weekly time frame, what do I see? I see that the price is very bullish, and our previous weekly candle closed bullish engulfing. When I'm looking at a weekly time frame, that is all I need, okay? To continue building my bias, I go to the daily time frame. And now on the daily time frame, I look for a market structure. Now, as I'm looking at the market structure, I see that the price was moving higher with higher highs, higher lows. Eventually, the price broke down, forming lower lows and lower highs. Then it got into a consolidation phase with a little bit lower momentum, and then the price broke out with, again, change of structure, which happened right here, and a bullish market structure. So now weekly is telling me bullish, daily is telling me bullish. So why I'm looking for longs is because the price is bullish. So now I have answered my question, which is why. Now we can go to question number 2. Where do I enter the trade? Where is the liquidity? Where is the supply or demand? Since we're looking at buys, we're looking for demand. So we need to find liquidity, we need to find demand, okay? So let's call this liquidity. Where is my liquidity? So first is bias, second is liquidity. To do that, what I do is I drop to lower time frames, such as 30-minute time frame. And since we're looking at gold, I only want to look for London or New York liquidity. In this case, my green box on the chart is London session and the gray box is New York session. I always want to use more recent session. Unless there's nothing more to the left, I'm only gonna be looking at what's happened just recently. So as I'm looking at a previous New York session, what do I see? That right on the open, we had a massive buy. That means there's a lot of liquidity right at this area where the price had the biggest push on the New York open, not somewhere else. So this is going to be my demand, or in other words, my liquidity, which will help my bias, which is bullish, to push the price higher. So now I answered my second question, which is why. Let's go find where my text is. Now, last question, when? So, when we have a bullish bias, when we find a zone where we want to take a trade, the last question we need to ask ourselves is, when the price reaches that liquidity level, when do I trigger my entry? In other words, when do I open the position? And that question is answered by having an entry confirmation. I have 2 entry confirmations. Entry confirmation. I have one a little bit more complicated entry confirmation, which is liquidity entry confirmation. For that, I will need to make a separate video. Very powerful, but more complicated entry confirmation. The second one is way more simple and very basic. It's a reversal pattern. So now the price, I identified that I only want to look for buys. I identified where is my liquidity. identify where's my liquidity, where I expect the price to move higher. Now, last thing I need is the price. Guys, we don't react, we don't guess, we react, okay? So just price touching this level is not telling me that it wants to go higher. I want the price to prove me that it wants to go higher from this level. So what I need is a reversal pattern such as double bottom or such as inverse head and shoulders. These are the patterns I use. In this case, as I'm looking at a 5-minute time frame, what do I see? I see that the price has started forming an inverse head and shoulder pattern, which is here. We have a left shoulder, we have a head, and then we have right shoulder. For this to confirm, I need this neckline to be broken. I need a break and retest for me to trigger my entry. And this answers my last question, when. I have why, which is bias, where, which is liquidity, and when is entry confirmation. So let's see what happens. You can see how all of this is such a systematic process. My emotions is not involved because all I'm doing is systematic step-by-step process where I'm just answering questions. So I have no doubts after I execute the trade. So I have the price to break out of the neckline, our entry being after the price retests the neckline, which is right here, and I don't know, let's say our targets is 1 to 4, okay? And then we let the trade play out. So we're trading with the trend, we're trading with liquidity, and we're trading with what the price is telling us. So now, guys, I want you to understand that for you to get rid of emotions, you need to treat trading like business. And if you treat trading like business, it needs to be a systematic process. Think about it like this. No business has been ever built without a business plan. Every business needs a business plan, so every trading setup also needs a plan. Consistent analysis equals consistent results. So if you execute it consistently the same way every single day, you'll have consistent results. Ask my students, ask anyone who knows how I'm trading. I do every single day, every single time the same thing. That is why I have consistent results. And it's way easier to manage it. Like, imagine I was trading SMC, ICT every day, trend lines, support and resistance, supply and demand. It's so hard to keep track of things. It's so hard to improve yourself when you don't know what you're doing. You don't know your next step. Take one step at a time and then move forward like this instead of trying to look 10 steps ahead. It was Dario FX. Make sure to subscribe. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.